We present a new, passive micron-resolution depth sensing technique termed sunlight interferometry. Existing interferometry techniques provide micron-resolution depth reconstructions at the cost of operating under controlled lab conditions with artificial illumination, low ambient light, and active vibration isolation. Sunlight interferometry works under conditions where all these constraints are impossible to meet, for example, in bright environments outdoors. Our passive illumination comes directly from the sun. This illumination is directed to the input of a Michelson interferometer. Moving the reference mirror, we acquire a stack of intensity images and process it to estimate a depth map. This is a picture of the setup we built on an ordinary utility card to enable outdoor deployment. With our setup located in the red box, we sensed depth.
Hello all, in this video we present afternoon fast neural racing field training with free camera trajectories. This is joint work with HKU, NTU, MPI, and Texas A&M University. The motivation of this project is to synthesize novel views from arbitrary camera trajectories. Here are some examples of arbitrary trajectories, or we call free trajectories. In free trajectories, the camera poses can be very irregular. Those 4 demo videos are our render results. Our method can synthesize novel views of free trajectories in high quality. The background is the
Hello, my name is Wen Jing. I will be introducing NopeNerve, a new approach for optimizing neural radiance field from an image sequence without post priors. This is a collaborative work with Zirui, Kejie, Jia Wang, and Victor at the Activation Lab of Oxford University. Our approach leverages monocular depth maps to regularize the geometry and relative poses between frames. We optimize neural radiance field, camera poses, and depth distortions jointly in a single model. By doing so, we are able to handle more complex trajectories compared to existing approaches and obtain high-quality view synthesis.
This is SPARF, neural radiance fields from sparse and noisy poses. Our goal is novel view rendering given access to only few wide baseline images with noisy camera poses. This is shown here. Given these 3 images and their noisy cameras, we want to train a nerve that will produce realistic-looking renderings with an accurate geometry. This is exactly what our SPARF is doing. It is a joint pose nerve training strategy that exploits multi-view geometry principles. In particular, we adopt the nerve framework and introduce 2 additional constraints. Here we compare SPARF with alternative joint pose nerve refinement approaches. As visualized in the depth maps, our approach is the only one learning a meaningful scene geometry. It is also the only one producing good-looking RGB renderings. On this forward-facing scene, our SPARF leads to sharper renderings with much less floaters than competitors. Our approach is applicable to any scenes. Again here, the scene reconstructed by SPARF has a much more...
Hi, I'm Song Park from SEET, and I'll present our paper, Temporal Interpolation is All You Need for a Dynamic Neural Radiance Field. In this paper, we tackle the problem of neural radiance fields for dynamic scenes. Given the input image sequence, we train dynamic nerve models which can perform space-time view synthesis. The key idea of our method is to apply temporal interpolation for feature extraction. The feature vector of the target frame is calculated by a linear interpolation along the time axis. We propose 2 different feature representations, neural and grid. In the neural representation, the static and dynamic feature vectors are extracted using multilayer perceptrons, which enables high-quality dynamic nerve with compact models. For the grid representation, static and dynamic features are extracted from 3D and 4D hash grids respectively, which allows for dynamic nerve training in just a few minutes. Please visit our project page and poster session at the conference.
we present DynaBar, Neural Dynamic Image-Based Rendering. Giving a monocular video of a dynamic scene captured from a single moving camera, our goal is to synthesize novel views in space and time. Due to the limited capacity of MLPs, prior dynamic nerve methods struggle to scale to complex scenes captured in long videos with uncontrolled camera and object motions, producing blurry outputs. Our approach addresses those limitations by combining neural volumetric representations with image-based rendering techniques in a motion-aware manner. Our DynaBar approach significantly improves rendering fidelities compared to prior methods. Here we show our space-time view synthesis results from our approach on a variety of monocular dynamic videos.
We present diff-RF, a novel approach for 3D radiance field diffusion with rendering guidance. In contrast to existing diffusion-based methods, we operate directly on radiance fields, enabling unconditional synthesis and novel conditional tasks like masked radiance field completion using the strong synthesis prior learned by our model. During training, our model takes as input a radiance field generated from a set of posed images. Similar to 2D diffusion, we train a time-conditioned 3D unit to reverse a Gaussian noising process, which corrupts the input radiance field over time. Given a corrupted radiance field at a certain time step, the unit is trained to predict the noise applied at that step. We then use the predicted noise to estimate the original radiance field, render it to a set of views, and apply an image reconstruction loss together with a standard diffusion error. This process biases the model towards generating radiance fields that can be rendered to high-quality images. At inference time, we apply ancestral sampling, where we gradually...
Hi everyone, I'm glad to present our newest work entitled Neural Kernel Surface Reconstruction. In this work, we tackle the challenging problem of reconstructing surfaces from oriented point cloud. Our method is fast, scalable, robust. It uses neural kernel fields, and it reaches state-of-the-art performance. Given input points and normals, we first predict a sparse voxel hierarchy and a kernel field, and then we formulate a sparse linear system that tries to solve for minimizing the surface fitting error. Our method is tested on various different datasets. Apart from the high-ranking results, we also provide a kitchen sink model that is trained on a mixture of this dataset that is highly generalizable. To demonstrate the scalability of our method, we tested on the color simulator generated dataset. We can reconstruct a very large-scale scene within only seconds, and the trained model generalizes well to unseen data. Here's a piece of results by running our method on a very long racetrack.
This is the demo video of our CVPR highlight paper. Our paper is named as Discoscene, Spatially Disentangled Generative Radiance Fields for Controllable 3D-Aware Scene Synthesis. This work is joint done with Menglei, Zifan, Saida, and other talent researchers. This paper aims at building a 3D scene generative models for compositional scene synthesis. Our framework employs a highly abstract object-level representation, specifically 3D bounding boxes without semantic annotation, as the scene layout prior for 3D-aware scene synthesis. Conditioned by the layout prior, our spatially disentangled generative radiance fields generate individual objects and the background. Our efficient neural rendering pipeline then composites the scene into a low-resolution feature map using the volume renderer, which is then upsampled to the final high-resolution image using a StyleGAN2-like upsampler. During inference, users can manipulate the layout to control the generation of a specific scene at the object level. This is a high-level...
Hi, I'm Dojia Xu, a PhD student in University of Texas at Austin. I'm glad to present our paper, NeuralLift 360, lifting an in-the-wild 2D photo to a 3D object with 260-degree views. I'll first give an overview of our proposed method. Given an in-the-wild 2D image, we construct a depth-aware neural radiance representation and learn to craft the scene guided by 2D denoising diffusion models. We derive a prior distillation loss for clip-guided diffusion prior and utilize rough depth estimation with the help of ranking loss. Clip-guided sampling enables the 2D diffusion prior to provide coherent guidance. Depth ranking loss guides the nerve with rough monocular depth estimation. When adapting to in-the-wild images that are hard to describe with text, we fine-tune the diffusion model on the single image while maintaining its ability to generate diverse contents to guide the nerve training. We introduce image augmentations and auxiliary clip loss to the domain adaptation process to avoid overfitting. Here are some visuals.
Canonical fields, self-supervised learning of post-canonicalized neural fields. The application of neural fields, that is, coordinate-based neural networks that implicitly parameterize signals in visual computing, has led to remarkable progress on various computer vision problems such as 3D scene reconstruction and generative modeling, leading to more accurate, higher fidelity, and more expressive solutions. In this paper, we present Canonical Field Network CAFI-NET, the first self-supervised method for category-level canonicalization of the 3D position and orientation of objects represented as neural fields, specifically neural radiance fields. During inference, our method takes as input neural radiance fields of object instances from a category at an arbitrary pose and estimates a canonical field that is consistent across the category. Now we will dive deeper into the various aspects of our work. Given posed RGB images,
We present the method for improving fairness in facial albedo estimation via visual textual cues. Recent 3D face reconstruction methods have made significant advances in geometry prediction, yet further cosmetic improvements are limited by lagged albedo because inferring albedo from appearance is an ill-posed problem. To this end, we reconsider the relationship between albedo and face attributes and propose an ID2 albedo to directly estimate albedo without constraining illumination. Our key insight is that intrinsic semantic attributes such as race, skin color, and age can be used to constrain the albedo map. We introduce visual textual cues to supervise facial albedo estimation and train an end-to-end mapping network to infer albedo maps from ID feature. Our ID2 albedo outperforms state-of-the-art albedo estimation methods in terms of accuracy and fidelity.
Hi everyone, my name is Samar Sinha, and today I will be talking about our work, Common Pets in 3D. This work was done alongside my collaborators at Meta AI. In this paper, we shared the Common Pets in 3D dataset, which is the first large-scale 3D dataset of pets, namely cats and dogs. In total, the dataset consists of over 4,200 videos of cats and dogs. The data is extremely diverse as it was collected via crowdsourcing, and the pets can be found interacting with the environment as the camera pans around them. This dataset is useful to train category-centric 3D reconstruction. In this paper, we propose TrackerNerf, a neural rendering method that learns category-specific priors from the Common Pets dataset. The prior can then be used to fine-tune to perform fast and effective reconstruction on a novel video. Here are some examples.
Hi, I'm Santosh and I'm very excited to present our work on the Habitat Matterport 3D semantics dataset. This work was done in collaboration with researchers at Meta AI, Georgia Tech, UT Austin, Cornell, Simon Fraser University, and CMU. HM3DSEM is the largest ever open dataset of 3D real-world spaces with densely annotated semantics. You can see some top-down maps and first-person views from our dataset below. Key highlights of our dataset are that it contains 216 scenes with texture annotations, which allows pixel-level alignment between the semantic and scene meshes. Our dataset is the result of 14,000 plus hours of human effort from 20 plus annotators. We also have room annotations to enable smart dataset subsampling for various applications. Moreover, we show that models trained on HM3DSEM generalize the best across datasets for object detection and object goal navigation.
Let's talk about visual relocalization. Firstly, create a map from a set of post RGB images. Secondly, given a new query image, estimate the camera's position and orientation. For this task, learning-based relocalizers exhibit exemplary accuracy. They treat the mapping images as training set and encode the map into a network. Let's train the state-of-the-art relocalizer DSAG* and watch how it learns the map. Now, we wait. In fact, we have to wait for a long time. DSAG* needs 15 hours to map a single scene. This is where ACE comes into play, accelerated coordinate encoding. Let me show you what ACE can do after 10 seconds of training. The query input here is a video, but we only use single RGB frames for our pose estimates. There is no tracking.
In this video, we will introduce our recent work, Unity Steer, a universal cross-modality knowledge distillation framework for 3D object detection in bird's eye view. Our research introduces a groundbreaking framework called Unity Steer, which stands for Universal Cross-Modality Distillation. This framework has the power to revolutionize the way for developing single-modality 3D object detectors. Unity Steer supports 4 distillation passes, and the distillation losses can balance between objects of different scales. Evaluations on nuisance shows that Unity Steer can improve the MIP and NDS of student detectors. Next, we will introduce the background of Unity Steer. When developing 3D object,
vanilla object detectors such as faster RCNN and YOLO fail in catastrophic ways to detect outliers in a scene. Consider an object detector trained with images containing inlier objects such as cars, pedestrians, etc., but no animals. In the left image, the model can detect cars as an inlier, but fails to see a dog standing in the middle of the driving lane. On the other hand, in the right image, the model incorrectly classifies the bears trying to cross the road as a car, which is one of the inlier classes the model was trained with. Therefore, a reliable object detector should detect such outliers accurately. Open world object detection is a fast evolving research domain, with many exciting works in recent years. A recent work on outlier aware
We present attention-based point cloud edge sampling. Deep learning techniques have significantly advanced the development of artificial intelligence, transforming the world. There are many studies have been conducted to unravel the features learned by neural networks from images. These studies show that in addition to color and texture information, shape, silhouette, and edges are also of crucial importance for neural networks. However, for 3D point clouds, there is usually no texture information due to its sparsity. Color information is also sometimes not available. In these cases, shape edges are key features that neural networks should learn. The work of Engel et al. Proposes a model that learns patches for better downstream performances. From the visualization of the patches that learned by the network, we can observe that most key patches are around the shape edges. Hence, we have an assumption: when point clouds are sampled in the middle of a neural network model, would sampling edge points be a better choice for downstream tasks?
Hi, I'm Tianlu. I'm glad to share our work, Efficient RGBT Tracking via Cross-Modality Distillation. RGBT tracking is the task of estimating the state of an arbitrary target in each frame of an RGBT video sequence. Due to the affordability of the thermal infrared sensors, RGBT tracking draws more and more research interest. Most existing RGBT tracking models first adopt a two-stream structure to extract multi-level unimodal RGB and thermal features respectively. Then employ elaborate designed multimodal feature fusion modules to export complementary information within multimodal data. We call such a tracker as powerful RGBT tracker, but these powerful RGBT tracking models usually require high computational costs and large model sizes. Differently, a compact RGBT tracker
We present any flow, arbitrary scale optical flow with implicit neural representation. To apply optical flow in practice, it is required to perform image downsampling in order to reduce computational costs. AnyFlow is a new optical flow network that is robust to image resolution. The key insight behind AnyFlow is the use of implicit neural representation for flow estimation. Owing to its continuous representation, AnyFlow can estimate optical flow in an arbitrary scale depending on our target resolution. Therefore, AnyFlow can restore optical flow in the original size from the downsampled low-resolution images with clear boundaries. As a result, AnyFlow shows more accurate predictions, especially on object boundaries and small objects from low-resolution images.
In this work, we introduced the first data-driven feature tracker for event cameras. Our method leverages the high temporal resolution of events to provide stable feature tracks in high-speed motion in which standard frames suffer from motion blur. Our method predicts the displacement of a feature by localizing a template patch P0 from a grayscale image in subsequent event patches Pj. By directly transferring zero-shot from synthetic to the real data of the event camera dataset benchmark and the recently published EDS dataset, our tracker outperforms existing approaches in relative feature age by up to 120%. This performance gap is further increased to 130% by adapting our tracker to real data with our novel self-supervision strategy.
This is to present our work about efficient frequency domain-based transformers for high-quality image deblurring. Image deblurring is a process of restoring sharp images from blurred ones. In this work, we present an effective and efficient method that explores the properties of transformers in the frequency domain for high-quality image deblurring. The main contributions are summarized as follows. Firstly, we develop an efficient frequency domain-based self-attention solver to estimate the scale product attention for effective and efficient image deblurring. Then we propose an effective discriminative frequency domain-based FFN to discriminatively determine which low and high frequency information should be preserved for latent call. Our image restoration. Finally, we develop an asymmetric network architecture based on an encoder and decoder network where the frequency domain-based self-attention solver is only used in the decoder module. Recently, Hello
everyone. I am now introducing our work about learning a sparse transformer network for effective image deraligning. Single image deraligning is a typical low-level vision problem emerging in the last decade. Transformers-based methods have achieved significant performance in image deraligning as they can model the non-local information which is vital for high-quality image reconstruction. We find that most existing transformers usually use all similarities of the tokens from the query key pairs for the feature aggregation, which accordingly interferes with the clear image restoration. In this paper, we propose an effective sparse transformer that can adaptively keep the most useful self-attention values for feature aggregation. There is such a proposition. Low-pass filter increases the value of the.
Hi there, we present you our work, a dynamic multi-scale workflow network for video prediction. Accurate motion estimation plays a crucial role in video prediction. However, the diverse and complex motion patterns in the wild make estimating accurate motion difficult. Earlier methods mainly utilize recurrent neural networks to capture temporal motion information for video prediction and lead extra information. We design a lightweight dynamic network with only RGB frames as inputs. We propose an efficient routing module to dynamically select a suitable subnetwork according to the input, so that we can reduce the computational costs while maintaining the.
In this talk, we will introduce our recent CVPR work. DINER, Disorder Invariant Implicit Neural Representation. The contents include 5 parts. The first question is, what is implicit neural representation? Let's revisit the traditional explicit representation. Traditional representation saves the information of a signal as a matrix. On the contrary, the INR saves the mapping function between the coordinates and the attributes. Most INRs use the multilayer perceptron network as function approximators. Compared with traditional explicit representation, INR has 2 advantages. Smaller storage cost. Plug-to-play advantage for optimizing inverse problems. INR has plug-to-play advantage for optimizing inverse problems. By representing the signal to be optimized using INR and encoding differentiable physical mechanisms into the loss function design, such as the Raymarching rendering, Fresnel diffraction propagation and partial differential.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure for me to share the representation about our paper, Understanding Masked Image Modeling While Learning Occlusion Invariant Feature. Here is the quick introduction. We propose relaxed MIM, a new Siemens framework to approximate the original reconstructive MIM method. Based on relaxed MIM, we replace the similarity measurement with simpler info-NCE loss and found that patch masking may be the key to success. To understand why patch masking is important, we perform MIM pre-training on very few images, example only 1 image. We hypothesize that the encoder learns data agnostic occlusion invariant features during.
Hi everyone, I'm Xidong Yang from Meta AI Research. I'm going to introduce our work, Relational Spacetime Query, in long-form videos. Egocentric videos, commonly captured by wearable glasses, are often found in the form of uncurated, long-duration recordings. In order to comprehend these videos, an AI model should be able to not only recognize the activities and objects within the videos, but also crucially reason about the interactions and relationships among them. In this paper, we propose relational space-time query, which bundles the analysis of human activities, objects, and their interactions into a unified framework. We also introduced 2 novel benchmarks that enable the joint evaluation of these problems on public egocentric datasets. Finally, we provide a series of baseline experiments aiming to gain valuable insights into the task.
In this work, we focus on training video language models from video text pairs. We propose LaVilla, a new approach to learn video language representations by leveraging large language models. We achieve this by repurposing pre-trained large language models to be conditioned on visual inputs, and then fine-tune them with the human narrations to become automatic video narrators. The auto-generated narrations offer several advantages, including dense coverage of long videos, much higher diversity of text, and compared to human annotations, generating narrations from large language models is free. The video language embedding learned contrastively with these narrations outperforms the previous state-of-the-art on multiple first-person and third-person video tasks, both in zero-shot and fine-tuned setups.
Hello, I'm Li Yong. I come from Nanjing University of Science and Technology, Nanjing, China. I'm happy to present our paper. The title is Decoupled Multimodal Distuning for Emotion Recognition. In this paper, we propose a decoupled multimodal distuning mechanism for robust multimodal emotion recognition. As shown in this figure, given 3 different modalities, we use shared and private encoders to encode the features respectively. Then, we use the graphing-powered knowledge detuning mechanism in each decoupled space for
we present Genesis, a benchmark for general conditional image similarity. The conditional similarity problem is motivated by the ability of humans to understand many notions of similarity and then choose one for a task at hand. For example, given the image on the left, each of the images on the right might be considered most similar to it given different conditions. For example, given the condition with the same car, one might consider the top right image to be most similar, while the condition with the same bridge implies a middle image is most similar. However, most existing image representations are fixed and unchanging. So we present a way to train and evaluate models which can adapt to different similarity notions on the fly. To this end, we present the Genesis benchmark, which contains 4 conditional retrieval tasks for zero-shot evaluation of the problem, as well as a method which scalably mines conditional training data from large-scale image caption datasets.
Hi everyone, I'm Sara Sarto from the University of Modena and Reggio Emilia, and I would like to present to you our work called Positive Augmented Contrastive Learning for Image and Video Captioning Evaluation. In recent years, there has been a notable improvement in the quality of generated captions. However, the evaluation of these captions has relied heavily on metrics that either utilize human references or noisy web-collected data. Therefore, we propose a learnable metric for video and image captioning. Our approach involves pre-training on a combination of web-collected data, generated data, and human annotations. Our proposed metric, PAC score, is trained via a positive augmented contrastive learning approach, and it surpasses previous reference-free and reference-based metrics in terms of its correlation with human judgment.
Hello everyone, I'm Chen Hao. Let me begin this talk with the overview of our paper. Typically, the goal of training multimodal representation is to learn about the high-level concepts, such as the objects and the scenes. But often, it is just as important to know those low-level imaging properties, such as the type of camera that shoots the photo, its length, and exposure. These low-level features have demonstrated to be extremely important in various tasks, such as image forensics and 3D reconstruction. We propose to learn these low-level information from the camera metadata that is automatically inserted into the image file at the moment of capture. We treat the whole piece of metadata as language, and use contrastive learning to learn joint embedding between image patches and camera metadata.
Thank you for attending our presentation. I'll introduce our paper, Uncurated Image Text Datasets, Shedding Light on Demographic Bias. Recently, the increasing use of large uncurated datasets raises concerns about societal bias. However, demographic annotations are scarce for societal bias analysis in visual and language tasks. To address this problem, we annotate 6 demographic and 2 contextual attributes for personal images from GCC dataset. Also, we conduct a comprehensive analysis of the annotations, and the results show that GCC presents big imbalances on the demographic attributes. Moreover, we conduct evaluation of bias in prevailing visual and language tasks. These downstream tasks showed evidence of different performance for different demographics.
We introduce GAR-PartNet, cross-category domain generalizable object perception and manipulation via generalizable and actionable part. We construct a large-scale part-centric interactive dataset, GAR-PartNet, with rich, part-level annotation for both computer vision and interaction tasks. It has 9 common part classes, and provides semantic labels and pose annotations for more than 8,000 functional part instances on over 1,000 objects from 27 object categories. In GAR-PartNet, parts from the same part class share similar geometry, which allows generalizable visual recognition. They also have aligned actionability and can be manipulated in a similar way, which ensures minimal human effort when designing interaction guidance to achieve generalizable and robust manipulation policies. We then investigate 3 cross-category tasks: part segmentation, part pose estimation, and part-based object manipulation. Our method is trained on seen object categories, and needs to generalize to unseen objects categories.
Hello, my name is Luo Chuwei from Damo Academy Alibaba Group. Thank you for your interest in our work. Today, I will introduce our CVPR highlight paper, which is titled as GeoLayout LLM, Geometric Pre-training for Visual Information Extraction. Our code is available on the project page. The key insight of our work is that the geometric relationships are important for document layout representations. We propose a multimodal framework named GeoLayout LM for visual information extraction. GeoLayout LM models the geometric relations in pre-training, which we call geometric pre-training. According to extensive experiments on standard VIE benchmarks, GeoLayout LM outperforms the previous SOTAs for the VIE, especially in the relation extraction task.
Hello everyone. PACO, Paths and Attributes for Common Objects, is a work from Meta AI. It is a large-scale dataset jointly providing object masks, part masks, and object as well as part level attributes. It is sourced from two popular datasets, Elvis and Ego4D, spanning 75 objects, 456 object parts, 55 attributes, and roughly 81,000 images. The dataset is available at the link below. As shown here, we annotate parts and attributes for each object instance separately. When annotated, an object instance has object mask, part mask, as well as object and part attributes. We also provide 3 benchmark tasks. Part segmentation, where model needs to segment part mask per object instance. Second, instance level attribute detection, where a model needs to produce object attributes and part attributes. Lastly, a task where model needs to recover and localize a specific instance of an object from a dataset based.
Recently, self-supervised pre-training vision transformers have shown great promise in representing pixel-level semantic. In an image, semantically identical pixel embeddings in the representation space gather together to form sophisticated concepts. In this work, we aim at accurately extracting these concepts to segmentation of an image considering the scene complexity of different images, and achieve unsupervised semantic segmentation by classifying them. For this purpose, we design the adaptive concept generator to project a set of prototypes to concepts adaptively for different image, and then assign pixels to the nearest concept to achieve segmentation. For unsupervised training of the ACG, we proposed modularity loss, which estimates the intensity of assigning 2 pixels to the same concept by their adjacency in the graph, independent of the concept number.
Hello everyone, it's my pleasure to share my CVPR paper. This work is proposed for the class incremental semantic segmentation task to address the problems in the existing scene-based methods, including the local view and the inefficiency as the learning tasks increase, and the problem that existing knowledge distillation method limits the model's plasticity. We propose a new transformer-based framework dubbed incremental, which is a new structural paradigm with both high performance and high efficiency. We also propose a novel knowledge distillation method that only distills the features corresponding to the old class regions, and improves both the stability and plasticity of the model. And we further propose the class deconfusion strategy, which is used to balance the learning of the old and new classes.
Hello everyone. We are honored here to present our work in CVPR 2023, Matching is Not Enough, a 2-stage framework for category-agnostic pose estimation. First, we introduce the category-agnostic pose estimation task, referred to as CAPE. Different from the well-studied class-specific pose estimation models, which are trained and tested on the same categories, CAPE aims to predict key points for arbitrary categories given support images with keypoint annotations. This task can also be viewed as a few-shot learning setting for pose estimation. A standard CAPE pipeline works in an extract-then-match pipeline. Given a query image and a support image with keypoint annotations, the key points are projected into the embedding space, and their embeddings are matched across the query image for localization. The similarity peaks of the matching results become the predicted key points. However,
name is Takumi Kobayashi. I'm working at National Institute of LSD and the University of Tsukuba in Japan. This work addresses multi-level classification. In single-level classification, softmax loss is widely applied with great success, but it is replaced by binary cross-entropy loss in the scenario that multiple labels are given to a sample. So we propose a novel loss function to provide good properties of softmax loss to multi-level learning. In addition, we also present a novel two-way formulation to apply the loss for enhancing descriptive power of features from two aspects, class-wise and sample-wise aspects, to improve performance. Our real image frequency.
Hello everyone, I am glad to share our paper, Divide and Adapt, Active Domain Adaptation via Customized Learning. Active domain adaptation aims to query the most informative target samples to best improve the model adaptation performance. We present Divide and Adapt, coded Diana, to partition the target instances into 4 categories with stratified transferable properties. Firstly, we propose an informativeness score to measure the uncertainty and domainness of sample. This enables the use of a Gaussian mixture model to automatically divide data into 4 categories. Finally, we can utilize the data subdivision protocol to recognize the most gainful samples and employ customized learning for different data. Our method achieves state-of-the-art performance and can generalize to diverse DA scenarios. Active domain adaptation aims at seeking an optimal model for a target domain. When given labeled source data S as well as unlabeled target data U, assisted by
Hello everyone. It's a great honor to present our work, Coaching a Teachable Student. In this work we propose CAT, a novel deep knowledge distillation framework, for effectively teaching a sensor-motor student agent to drive from the supervision of a privileged teacher agent. The method comprises 3 steps. We first design a high-capacity privileged agent that surpasses prior experts on Carla. The agent is learned via imitation over a safety-aware bird's-eye view space. To address the differences in inputs between student and teacher networks, we leverage a transformer-based image-to-BEV space alignment module. The student can then benefit from extensive deep supervision over its internal features. To scaffold the difficult sensor-motor learning task, the student model is optimized via a student-paced coaching mechanism with various auxiliary supervision. Our method enables effective knowledge transfer between a privileged teacher and a sensor-motor student, resulting in a robust image-based behavior cloning agent, achieving state-of-the-art performance on Carla.
Hi everyone, welcome to the presentation for our paper Understanding Mask Autoencoders via Hierarchical Latent Variable Models. This is a joint work with a group of wonderful people at SMU. Masked autoencoding is a canonical self-supervised learning paradigm for visual representation learning. The procedure is fairly simple. We first divide the image into patches and mask out a fraction of the patches randomly. We feed the unmasked patches into the encoder, which is often a vision transformer, to obtain the representation of the image. With this representation, the decoder predicts the missing patches masked out at the beginning. MAE pre-trained encoders can be fine-tuned for various vision tasks, including classification, detection, image segmentation, etc., and achieve the state-of-the-art performances consistently.
I'm presenting our work, Hands-Off, which is a framework for generating labeled synthetic datasets without the need to acquire additional human annotations. The Hands-Off framework is a GAN-based synthetic dataset generating framework. It uses a pre-trained GAN and trains a label generating branch with a small number of real images and their corresponding labels. And so to do this, we use tools from GAN inversion to invert the real images into the latent space of the pre-trained GAN. From there, we can extract extremely rich pixel-level representations with the help of the GAN generator. And then we train a label generator to map from this representation to the label space in a supervised manner. Once we've trained the label generator, we can pretty easily insert it into the image generating pipeline and obtain corresponding pixel-level labels.
We present our work attribute preserving face dataset anonymization via latent code optimization. This work defines an anonymization framework for image face datasets, capable of maintaining the original face attributes while still obfuscating the identity portrayed. This result is obtained by optimizing the single image's latent code by using an identity obfuscation loss along with an attribute preserving loss. Quantitative and qualitative results show that our method obtains state-of-the-art results in terms of privacy preservation and surpasses the current works in terms of attribute preservation. The first anonymization applications define simple strategies to remove one's identity, for example by covering the face image with simple techniques such as blurring or blacking out, which led to results unusable for possible downstream tasks. In more recent works, instead, the standard.
Hello everyone. Today I would like to introduce our recent work on domain generalization object detection by eliminating non-coarse vectors with a multi-view adversarial discriminator. We discovered that the coverage of non-coarse vectors in the limited source domains is incomplete. Traditional domain adversarial learning with single domain classifiers fails to comprehensively address all non-coarse vectors. To tackle this challenge, we propose MAD method, which consists of two novel modules, SCG and MVDC. The SCG module employs frequency domain augmentations to explore potential non-coarse vectors, while the MVDC module guides the feature extractor to ally features across different feature space. Through extensive experimentations across 7 different domains, we have successfully validated the effectiveness and superiority of our approach.
Hi, I'm Woo-Jae Kim, presenting our highlights paper, Feature Separation and Recalibration for Adversarial Robustness. We will first provide a 1-minute preview of our work. Deep neural networks make decisions on an image by learning their feature representations. Adversarial attacks, however, disrupt the feature activations of images, and these disruptions are passed down the network and ruin its final decision. To solve this problem, existing defense methods simply deactivate or suppress these disrupted activations. However, this approach can lead to loss of potential discriminant cues regarding the target object and limit the model's ability to make correct predictions. Therefore, we instead propose to restore useful cues from these disrupted activations that are otherwise neglected. This additional useful information will better guide the model to make correct predictions under attack. Based on this idea, we propose feature separation and recalibration module that restores useful cues for predictions from non-robust features responsible for model mispredictions under attack.